So, over the last couple of months and over the last year, Battlefield 2042 has improved significantly, but it is still a long way off being a good Battlefield game. Now personally, there are a few problems that DICE still need to address, even to this day, and especially with Year 2 content being leaked, I personally feel like these problems need to be fixed sooner rather than later. But before we get into these problems, make sure to leave a like and let me know your opinion on the problems once you hear them. The first problem that I have is weapon balancing. Now, I personally think, and I know a few other people's in my recent YouTube videos and streams also think, that a lot of the weapons tend to feel the same. A lot of the ARs beam you across the map, I would say around 50 to 70 meters, and I feel like the average engagement range in Battlefield is probably 50 meters right now. Assault rifles with their headshot multiplier can two-shot you across the map, and with guns having, I would say, probably the least amount of recoil I've probably ever seen in a Battlefield game without any spread, it makes for a huge problem. And considering there's still probably, I would say, a recoil bug in this game with how recoil works, it just makes you think how little the recoil actually is. Now, a solution to this problem I would suggest is just generally upping the recoil. I would get rid of the advantage that controller has with its reduced recoil. That would probably make crossplay off lobbies a little more balanced, though crossplay on and crossplay off is another topic altogether. I would try to introduce some sort of spread or increase the spread similar to what BF4 has, so where it has a skill gap that you need to burst fire and not full auto at 100 meters. But if you have any suggestions for this type of fix on weapon balancing, let me know down in the comments. Now onto a problem that I've found annoying since the very release of the game, and is still an issue still to this day, and many people hate also. And that is just how effective transport vehicles are. From the flying tank that is the Super Hind and the Condor, to the Jeep with 30mm and 50mm cannons. And I would say over the past couple of weeks, it's gotten quite a lot worse as more and more people discover how good they actually are. They just all together need to remove any type of cannon from transport vehicles. And on the Super Hind, they need to just get rid of the front gunner seat and just replace it with either a spotter or just another transport seat. It'll make transport vehicles actually transport vehicles again, and then maybe we could have a few more of them dotted around the map for easy transport around the map, so you don't just get farmed by them as we currently are. Now, speaking of farming, like the clips on screen may be doing, another issue is controller input and mouse and keyboard input. Now, if you play this game quite a bit, you notice it less and less. But when you switch from 2042 to Battlefield 5 and back to 2042, or even to a completely other game, maybe like Gundam Evolution or Overwatch, when you come back to 2042, you just notice how bad the input on this game still is. It's an issue that has been since the beta, and it needs addressing quite soon. I would say literally now. But considering it's DICE and it's probably an engine related issue, I don't see it ever being fixed in this game. And it's quite unfortunate as I believe the game would be 100 times better with the issue fixed. Though this would probably compound the issue of being beamed across the map because the guns have no recoil. So maybe the devs know this and it's a catch-22. But I would love for this game to have perfect input, and for me, if Year 2 content does come, it would make it a whole lot more enjoyable without this problem. And a problem that makes the game not so enjoyable and probably compounds upon the frustration that you get when playing this game, and that is just the amount of explosive spam that's in the game. From Zane's airburst to the sticky grenade launcher to frag grenades being an absolute nuke, C5, and many other things like the cannons involved from the Super Hind, from the Jeeps, tanks, it all compounds into explosive spam, and it needs to be reduced. I don't know how you would do this in other ways than just balancing the frag grenades, Zane's airburst, Sundance nades. It just needs to be reduced somehow, because on modes like Breakthrough, Rush, even TDM, it makes it tedious to play, and dying to it is very frustrating and leaves you feeling ripped off by your death. But like I said, if anyone has any suggestions on how you would fix this, I don't know, but it just needs to be fixed to make the game a lot more enjoyable to play, because when you die to this stuff, it definitely is frustrating. And speaking of frustration and frustrating, and that is server hit reg. Now I don't know if this has been a problem for many people for a while, but I know over the last couple months, hit reg on this game has been terrible. I don't know if it's always been like this, but I've certainly noticed it over the past couple of months with the odd bullet or maybe even two each gunfight, which in this game is a big deal, especially with the TTK, I would say being quite fast, and maybe that is another problem as well. So hit reg being improved would make a massive difference to the game and probably would make it a lot more enjoyable. But speaking of a previous problem, it probably compound upon that even more, and that is the fast TTK and just the game having no recoil. So maybe hit reg being perfect would just make your deaths instantaneous, and the whole game just has a balancing issue. So with those 5 problems that I've listed, I would say that's probably my top 5 problems that need fixing. There probably are numerous others from maybe little bugs. Squad management is another one that I'm going to mention now actually. The game's been out for almost a year, and you still can't pick what squad you want in, you can't team switch, there aren't even consistent servers, no server browser, the list goes on and it needs to be addressed. But back to the outro. And if you have any other problems that you suggest that need fixing right now, let me know in the comments. But if you want a video on Battlefield 2042 that's more in the positive light, maybe the videos on screen will entertain you, otherwise I'll catch you guys in the next one.